Most baking soda isn't fake. Let's get that out of the way right now. But not fake and actually pure are two very different things. And that gap is exactly where corporations make their money. Walk into any grocery store, grab any box off the shelf. You'll see the exact same claim printed right there on the front, 100% pure baking soda. No additives, no fillers, nothing to worry about. It looks like one of the safest, most transparent products you can possibly buy. But here's the forbidden fact they're counting on you never to discover. Two boxes with identical labels. Same claim, same white powder, same price point. Can perform completely differently inside your kitchen. And that difference comes entirely from what companies are not legally required to tell you. That matters more than you think. Every single year, tens of millions of households spend good money on baking soda. Not just for baking, for cleaning countertops, deodorizing refrigerators, brushing teeth, even skincare. It is marketed as the universal, ultra-pure, no questions asked ingredient. The one product you never have to think twice about. But behind the scenes, manufacturers are quietly cutting costs in ways that are 100% legal and almost completely invisible to you. We are talking about hidden differences in sourcing, in processing, in particle engineering, and in how fast your baking soda degrades before you even open the box. Some brands invest in precision, others simply meet the bare minimum and collect the same premium. Today, we are exposing both. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 brands to skip, which ones actually deliver real quality, and the simple 30-second kitchen test that reveals the truth instantly. I spent weeks auditing every major brand on the shelf, and I promise you, Creighton, the results were not what I expected. To understand how a company cuts corners on something as simple as baking soda, you have to zoom in, all the way in, down to the chemistry itself. Real baking soda is a single compound, sodium bicarbonate. And technically, for a product to be legally labeled and sold as baking soda in the United States, it only needs to satisfy one requirement set by the FDA, at least 99% sodium bicarbonate. That sounds airtight. That sounds like genuine purity until you realize what that one remaining percent is actually allowed to contain. That last 1%, it can legally include sodium carbonate, which is a degraded, less reactive form of the compound. It can include moisture. It can include trace industrial residues from the manufacturing process. And here is the part that should make you genuinely angry. There is no legal requirement to disclose where the sodium bicarbonate was sourced, how finely it was milled, or how chemically stable it is over time. So here is exactly where the shortcut happens. To produce high-performance baking soda, a manufacturer needs consistent or quality-controlled mining or chemical synthesis, multiple refinement stages to strip out impurities, and precision milling to create uniform, fine particles that react efficiently. That costs real money, that requires infrastructure, oversight, and a supply chain you actually invest in. So instead, many brands source from cheaper industrial streams that produce sodium bicarbonate as a byproduct. They reduce the number of processing steps. They skip fine milling entirely because legally, as long as the final product hits 99% on paper, it passes every inspection. It ships. It hits your shelf with a 100% pure sticker on the front. But baking soda's entire job, its only job, is to release carbon dioxide gas when it contacts acid or heat. That reaction depends on 3 things: purity, surface area, and chemical stability. Cut corners on any one of those and your baking soda becomes slower, weaker, and fundamentally less reliable. Your cakes don't rise the way they should. Your cleaning paste doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and you never know why, because the label gave you 0 reason to suspect a problem. Let's name names. Here are 5 brands that are not lying to you, but are absolutely not giving you their best. Brand number 1, Great Value. The label says pure baking soda, full stop, no caveats. But flip the box over and do a little digging, and the reality is this: Great Value is a private label brand built entirely around one priority, cost efficiency. That means sourcing from the lowest bidder, typically large-scale industrial suppliers who produce sodium bicarbonate from multiple industries simultaneously, not just food. The issue here is not contamination. Let's be clear. The issue is consistency. Testing and consumer reports repeatedly point to uneven particle size, slower reaction rates, and faster clumping in humid environments. And that uneven crystal structure is not an innocent quirk. It directly affects how quickly carbon dioxide is released, which means slower reactions, flatter baked goods, and reduced effectiveness when you're using it to scrub or deodorize. You are paying for pure. You are not always getting precise. Brand number 2, Kroger. The label reads 100% sodium bicarbonate. It checks every legal box. But Kroger's store brand consistently suffers from a problem that has nothing to do with the ingredient itself. It has everything to do with the packaging and storage conditions applied before it reaches you. Thinner packaging materials, less rigorous moisture barriers. And here is why that is a serious chemistry problem. Now, baking soda is hygroscopic, so it actively absorbs moisture from its environment. More critically, it reacts slowly with ambient carbon dioxide in the air, gradually converting the active sodium bicarbonate into sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is weaker, it produces less carbon dioxide, and it happens silently, invisibly, before you even break the seal. Same ingredient on paper, different chemistry in practice. That is not a technicality. That is your baking underperforming for reasons you cannot see. Brand number 3, Clabber Girl. This one stings a little because Clabber Girl has genuine authority in the baking world. Their baking powder has a real legacy. So when consumers reach for their baking soda, they're extending that trust. And that is precisely the problem, because baking soda is a completely different story in their lineup. It is typically sourced from commodity suppliers rather than uniquely processed or refined in-house. Read the fine print. There is no proprietary refinement process here. No specialized particle engineering, no meaningful quality differentiation from the generic options sitting 2 shelves over. What you are paying for is the logo, and the decades of credibility attached to it. A brand trust is not the same thing as product quality, and in this case, the industry is counting on you to confuse the two. Brand number 4, Bob's Red Mill. I know, this one surprises people. It surprised me too. Bob's Red Mill has built an almost unshakable reputation on high-quality whole grains, specialty flours, and clean ingredients. When you see that logo, you assume premium. You assume the extra dollar on the price tag is justified. But baking soda is not a differentiated product in their lineup. It is refined sodium bicarbonate sourced through conventional industry channels. The same channels as brands a fraction of the price. There is no artisanal milling process, no unique sourcing story, no performance advantage that justifies the premium you are quietly paying. This is pure marketing inflation. You are buying the feeling of premium quality, not the chemistry of it. Brand number 5, Arm & Hammer Essentials. This one is a masterclass in product segmentation as a corporate strategy. Arm & Hammer in the main brands is actually excellent. We will get to that. But the Essentials subline is a different animal entirely. These variants are specifically positioned around deodorizing, fridge use, and multi-purpose cleaning. They carry slightly different packaging, slightly different price points, and language designed to suggest an enhanced or specialized formula. The underlying product, often the same base sodium bicarbonate as the standard box sitting right next to it. This is a logistical magic trick. By creating perceived specialization, the brand captures a premium from consumers who believe they are buying something purpose-built. You are not. You are paying more for a branding decision, not a chemistry decision. And the corporation is counting on you never running the side-by-side comparison. Now here is how you expose all of this in under 30 seconds. No lab equipment, no chemistry degree, just your kitchen counter and 2 ingredients you already own. It is called the carbon dioxide reaction test. Grab 1 teaspoon of your baking soda, a small glass, and white vinegar. Add the baking soda to the glass first. Then pour the vinegar over it and watch exactly what happens in the next 10 seconds. High quality baking soda will react instantly. The fizz should be immediate, aggressive, and uniform. A strong, vigorous bubble reaction that rises quickly and finishes cleanly. What you are watching is carbon dioxide gas being released. That is the entire job of sodium bicarbonate. Done right, it is fast, forceful, and efficient. Lower quality or chemically degraded baking soda will start slowly. The bubbles will be uneven. The overall reaction will be visibly weaker, sometimes almost flat compared to a fresh, high-quality sample run side by side. If particles are too coarse, the surface area available for reaction is reduced, meaning a slower release. If the compound has partially degraded into sodium carbonate before you open the box, the available active sodium bicarbonate is simply lower, meaning a weaker release. This is not a trick. This is not theory. This is observable chemistry happening right in front of you in 30 seconds. And once you run this test on your current box, whatever brand it is, you will never look at a 100% pure label the same way again. Now let's talk about the brands that actually earn your money. Brand number 1, Arm & Hammer. This is the benchmark. Not the Essentials subline, the original classic Arm & Hammer box that has been on shelves for over 175 years. Church & Dwight, the parent company, controls their entire supply chain from start to finish. from the mining of trona ore in Wyoming all the way through to final packaging. That kind of vertical integration means something real. Consistent purity, batch after batch, controlled particle size for reliable reaction rates, and stable performance over time. And here is the consumer when you need to hear. It is still one of the cheapest options on the shelf. This is not a case where doing it right costs you a fortune. This is a nearly 2-century-old operation that has had the time and the scale to optimize both quality and cost. The heritage is not marketing, it is operational infrastructure. Brand number 2, Anthony's Goods. This brand leans hard into transparency, and in an industry where opacity is the default, that alone is worth paying attention to. Anthony's Goods invests in batch testing, publishes clear sourcing information, and prioritizes fine milling that produces consistent, uniform particle sizes. They are not just trying to hit the legal 99% threshold and call it a day. They are designing a product that is built for actual performance. The price is slightly higher than store brands, but the performance gap and the honest labeling justifies the difference. You are paying for what the ingredient actually is, not what the marketing says it should feel like. Brand number 3, Milliard. Milliard focuses on 2 things that most consumers never think to ask about: particle consistency and packaging integrity. Their baking soda tends to have a finer, more uniform particle size than commodity brands, which means more surface area, faster reactions, and more predictable results whether you are baking a cake or making a cleaning solution. Their packaging is also built with better moisture barriers, which directly combats the silent chemical degradation problem we broke down earlier. Longer shelf stability means the box you open 6 months from now performs the same way as the box you open today. That reliability is not accidental. It is an engineering decision. Brand number 4, Frontier Co-op. Here is where the business model itself changes the equation. Frontier operates as a cooperative, which fundamentally restructures the incentive system. Instead of squeezing every margin to maximize shareholder returns, they are accountable to member standards. That means sourcing integrity is not a marketing claim. It is built into the governance structure of the company. The supply chain oversight is demonstrably stronger. The accountability to quality is structural, not cosmetic. You will pay a slight premium, but that premium is buying actual sourcing discipline. It's not a clever label redesign. Brand number 5, Hoosier Hill Farm. This is the quiet favorite among serious home bakers who have done the research and stopped chasing brand names. Hoosier Hill Farm has built its entire reputation on one thing: batch reliability, good moisture control, consistent packaging, and bulk value options that make it genuinely economical over time. They have built their customer base by supplying small-scale producers, serious home cooks, and baking enthusiasts who run the CO2 test and notice the difference. This is not a brand spending millions on marketing. This is a brand spending that budget on the product itself. And in this industry, that is rarer than it should be. Here's the bottom line. Baking soda might be the simplest product in your kitchen. One ingredient, one job, one box. But simple does not mean all versions are equal, and corporations are counting on you to assume they are. Because the moment you stop questioning, they stop investing. What you are actually buying when you pick up that box is a set of invisible decisions: how it was sourced, how it was processed, how it was packaged, and how much the company chose to invest beyond the absolute legal bare minimum. Most brands do not need to go further, because the law does not require them to, but you are the one paying the price. You are the one whose recipes fall flat. You are the one whose cleaning paste underperforms. And you deserve to know exactly why. You have a choice. You can grab the cheapest box because the label says pure and assume that is the whole story. Or you can spend 30 seconds with a teaspoon and a glass of vinegar and see the truth for yourself. The food in your home tells a story about every decision in the supply chain that brought it to your counter. You have the right to read that story. And now you know how. Subscribe to Taste It and Test It, because the label is never the whole truth.